You were not young when you moved there. The town itself was a quiet one, the kind you might stop at for a coffee or to fill the tank on your way to somewhere else. The first time you drove into town, taking the long, snaking road from the coast, you saw how the streets were narrow and dark. The buildings huddled together beside the narrow roads. Bare glitterings of sunlight struggled through the trees that enfolded the main streets like the tentacles of some vast, brooding creature. And you saw how the shadows touched everything. Perhaps the town had been waiting for you, quietly watching. You knew about it before you accepted the position, about the economy and how it ran on the back of the town's many mental infirmaries. Not just one or two, but dozens, housing the broken souls of the insane, the forsaken, the damned. Those old buildings brooded, with their barred windows and overgrown fences, scattered like rotting teeth across the dark alleys and streets. You knew, but you went anyway. Thankfully, you had an office job in a public law firm, Modos Brothers, at 631 Main Street. Modos 631, as it was entitled on the simple sign that hung above the front entrance, was a gaunt but efficient structure positioned strategically in the urban centre. And convenient too, with your small quarters above the offices, negating the need for a daily commute to work. The job was dull, repetitive, the way you had long resigned yourself to accept your work. Reports, signatures, routine stuff, and the other workers kept to themselves. At first, you ignored the gaunt, twisted faces of those you passed on the streets each morning, figures shuffling in and out of the mental institutions, dressed in mismatched clothes and hospital slippers, eyes glazed or twitching. You tried not to listen to the things they muttered. But the whispers found you anyway. They talked about the return of the Great One, the end of times, and something worse, the menace of the Dark One. It was all nonsense, of course. You laughed it off at first, but one day, as you strolled Main Street, something in you snapped. An old man grabbed your sleeve and hissed about the final judgment. And before you could stop yourself, you were yelling at him. You called him deluded, insane, and it felt good. After that, you were never the same. Slowly at first, then more and more, you began cursing and shaming the fools and miscreants of your sad little town. You woke up early each day, hours before your shift, just so you could drive to any one of the houses of insanity and chastise a deluded one. Anyone would do. A man who thought he was Christ. A woman who claimed to speak to the angels. Another who had foreseen the end of the world. You told them they were mad. You called them idiots. You shouted until your throat burned. Then you went to work at the law firm. And at morning tea, you went right back to the asylums. At lunch, again. Afternoon break, same thing. It became your rhythm, your ritual. It became you. People stared at you now, but you barely noticed. Barely noticed also how your skin had turned sallow, how your eyes had grown dark and hollow in the mirror each morning, from behind your glasses, frosty and cold, like your soul. And your voice sounded different now, thinner, a harsh rasp. But it was fine, you told yourself. After all, everyone else in the town was crazier than you, right? Then one morning, ambling before work, you saw walking towards you that twisted old man again. He saw you. You saw him and his darkness. And he exploded, a hiss, a guttural growl, and then before you could react, his flailing arm struck your face. You flinched, your glasses falling to the pavement with a splintering, dull thud, and the world became shrouded in fear. You fell, more from shock than the force of the blow. Your fingers desperately searched the pavement for your splintered spectacles, and finding them, you hastily propped them back upon your face. You struggled to your feet and squinting through the single remaining cracked lens, you realized that the old man had gone, vanished into the haze. Nobody beside remained, but the frightened and disheveled figure staring back at you from the nearby shop window. Trembling, you stumbled to the optometrist's shop, a block from Modos 631. You managed to control the shaking as he ran his tests. "How long have you had those glasses? I'm amazed you can see a thing with those relics." He laughed, apparently unaware of your trembling. 20 years, you told him. 20 years. Where had they gone? You staggered away, across the street, and walked towards the offices. Your mind was a dense fog, the world a blur. You paused at the gates of Modos 631 on Main, suddenly realizing that you had not put on your new glasses. Your still shaking fingers pried open the small grey box, and you slipped them across your face. And the world morphed, sharpened. The cracks in the stone walls, the rust on the fence, the strange tilt of the building. And then you saw it. High above the entrance, half hidden behind layers of ivy and grime, hung an old wooden sign that you'd never noticed before. You stopped cold. The letters, weathered and cracked, now clear through your new lenses, speaking to the darkness in your soul. And they read, Madhouse number 631.